A listener wants to know, on the album chart in the rock era, what album has spent the most weeks in the top 10? Well, it isn't Thriller. It's the soundtrack of one of the biggest movies ever made, a movie that featured this song.
A deer, a female deer, pray a drop of golden sun.
Details coming up.
The hits from coast to coast. American Top 40.
Now, let's answer that question about albums in the top 10. Comes from Belinda Bell in Chico, California. Here's what she wants to know. On the album chart, what album has spent the most weeks in the top 10? Well, Melinda, in the rock era, the album that spent the most weeks in the top 10 was a soundtrack album. It was a soundtrack of one of the biggest movies of all time. And when it came out in the mid-'60s, many of its songs leaped into the American pop culture, although the picture was about an Austrian family named Von Trapp. The children's governess taught them the musical scale with this song.
A deer, a female deer, pray a drop of golden sun.
That's Do-Re-Mi, just one of the many popular songs to come from the movie whose soundtrack album stayed in the top 10 longer than any album in the rock era. And here's a piece of the title song.
The hills are alive with the sound of music, with songs they have sung for 1,000 years.
Written by Rodgers and Hammerstein, sung by Julie Andrews, the title song from the movie soundtrack album with the Sound of Music, one of the biggest selling albums ever. And on the Billboard album chart from May 1965 to January 1968, it racked up a non-consecutive total of 109 weeks in the top 10. And there's your answer, Melinda. The album that spent the most weeks in the top 10 during the rock era? It's the movie soundtrack album of The Sound of Music, with 109 weeks in the top 10. Thanks for your letter, as the countdown continues.
The hits from